This meeting is being recorded.
Okay, so welcome to Family Life Ministry. And of course, as soon as I start recording, people will jump in, which is fine. Um, I'm going to go over a few things tonight, like some like super basic information about the class and the assignments and things like that. Traditionally, or at least in the past, this class didn't really have it was all online. There wasn't a Zoom or anything. So I started doing Zoom classes last fall, and it went over really well. So we're going to do that again this time. I think I did one or two last time, but we're going to do three this time throughout the semester. I did have to move some dates around from what the syllabus said, um, and so I'm going to go over that as well tonight. Um, I just I just had to back some stuff up on this one and another one of the classes. And then on Moodle, what I've done is just for your information, I have put, um, I went ahead and added due dates to like when things are due and then the Zoom classes and things like that. I don't think I had put that on Moodle yet, so I went ahead and added that. Someone asked me a question, which is a good question, about they opened up Moodle for the first time maybe Sunday, and it looked like it had been open in July. The reason it says that is because I load everything up in July. So we actually load everything like 2 months before the actual semester starts. So that's why it looks weird sometimes, and sometimes I have to add stuff or move things around because we load stuff up kind of early before the semester starts. And so that's why it might say you opened it July 25th when really you just opened it, September 10th, which is, I know that's a little bit confusing. So, um, one thing I always like to do before we get going too much farther is anyone here, like this is like your first class at Amberton by any chance? I'm just curious. Okay, a couple of people. All right. Probably the biggest learning curve would be the like using Moodle. If you've never used any type of classware management software or anything, that might be the biggest hurdle. Um, when I say hurdle, it's not too hard to use. This class is fairly straightforward in terms of the assignments and when things are due. Um, there's also on Moodle, and it should be on your like when you load Moodle up, you can look at your dashboard. There should be some like communication links and maybe some helpful links on like how to use Moodle and things like that. The other thing is if you take this class or any other class where you have to do a lot of research, let's say, the library website for Amberton is super, super great in terms of resources. They've got tons of resources for you that you can go on there and look at. And they've got videos that kind of walk you through different things too that are super helpful. And so anytime you need help with things like that, that's a good place to go. One of the things that Amberton is, well, uh, we've always kind of worked with working adults. That's been part of our DNA from the beginning. We've also been an online university for quite a while, even before COVID. But we've morphed and changed after COVID to make it even more accessible online as well. So, like for example, this class before COVID would have never been on. We would have never done Zoom, or it would have just kind of been online. And but since COVID, I most all the classes I teach are either only have one in-person class. Everything else is basically we'll do 3 or 4 Zoom classes per semester. And I'm going to talk more about that as we go. But if you're brand new to Amerton, I'm glad you're here. This is a great place. I love working here. I specifically like working here because I was a working adult student for a long time, all the way through my master's and PhD. So with a family and working at a couple of jobs, and so I kind of understand that part of it. Um, and so we do the best we can to kind of not only make this obviously the academic piece of Amerton is important, but also just making sure we can help you in any way we can throughout your academic process. So one of the first things I'd like to do before we jump into kind of the course material. I'd love to hear a little bit more about you guys. And so I never know how many people are going to be on the Zoom. Sometimes I might have 20, sometimes I might have 5. And so I kind of just wait and see who jumps on. And so what I'd love to do tonight is I'd love for us to spend just a couple of minutes, um, just like introduce yourself and where you live, what you do, and what makes you take this class, or what, most people take this for, maybe family studies or Christian counseling, or it's an elective. There's lots of different reasons people take it. So I'd love to know that. And so I'm not gonna call anyone. I'm just gonna kind of let you guys go and run free. And if we talk over each other, it's okay. We'll just figure it out. So I'd love to hear who you are and where you live, what you do, and then what makes you take the class. Love to hear that information from everyone. Don't be shy.
Hi, my name is Natasha Green. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Well, my name is Natasha Green. I live in Fort Worth, Texas, and I work for Fort Worth ISD. I am a school counselor. Getting ready to retire. I've been working for the district for 29 years. But when I retire, I would like to join my church with counseling, Christian counseling. And so I felt like I needed to get my LPC to start that and have more knowledge about it and everything. So that's what I'm choosing to do, wanting to do, because I'm kind of doing it anyway at church. So I may as well learn the basics and be knowledgeable about getting an LPC.
Gotcha. Cool. Thank you.
I guess I'll go next.
Oh, yes, go ahead.
I'm Nika Vance, and I actually live in Roanoke, Texas, and I currently work for a title company. So I'm an escrow officer, been doing that for over 10 years. However, my love when I graduated college, of course, many, many moons ago, it was in counseling psychology. So I've decided now that my kids are older and graduated college, I've decided to go back to get my master's in LPC as well.
Gotcha. Okay, cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
My name is
Hello.
Haywood Thomas, and I live in Malakoff, Texas, down in East Texas, Cedar Creek Lake area. But I work in the Richardson area. I'm a mental and behavioral health consultant with Region 10 Education Service Center. I am an LPC student. This is actually my second semester, so this will be my third class. Pretty much I put it off for almost 10, 12 years. And I decided to take this class as an elective, but I'm also heavily involved in ministry work. So I also, looked at it, okay, if I can take an elective, this will be great. And then too, it was one of the only classes that was available. And I'm like, hey, I'm not trying to go back and have a gap. So all this is tied in together. So I'm looking forward to what all it has to offer.
Great. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Crystal Carey. I live in Fort Worth. I am a full-time court reporter in Ellis County. I'm taking a class because I'm working on my master's degree for family studies and Christian counseling.
Cool.
I have a love for ministry, I guess more than court reporting.
Yeah,
But that's why I'm here.
great. Thank you.
My name is Glenda Donaldson, and I don't have my camera on because I'm sick right now and I look like something the dog drug in. So you'll just have to wait until the next Zoom to meet me face to face. But I live in Central Illinois and I am a high school teacher. But looking for just having been exposed to the family and a lot of struggles that families go through. And so I decided a year ago to start my master's in family studies with Christian counseling certification, just to hopefully be able to, as I finish up my teaching career, be able to find ways to support families that I just really didn't feel like I could as a teacher.
Great. Thank you. And you said Central Illinois. Where in
Yeah.
Illinois?
Mattoon, Illinois. So we're like 3 hours south of Chicago.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool. Well, at least it's the same time zone.
Yes, that's helpful.
That's good. Yeah. Cool.
Hi, I'm Rachel New. I don't know why there's two of me. Sorry about that. I currently live in Decatur, Texas, just north of Fort Worth, and I have three kiddos, and my husband and I own a decorative concrete business. And just really through my own personal experience in therapy, God has just really placed a desire in my heart to learn. So this is my first course, so I'm interested in pursuing my master's with a LMFT degree. I would love to be able to help families just how I've been helped.
Awesome. Great.
Hi, everyone. My name is Melanie. I live in the Houston area. I am a family medicine physician by trade. I closed my practice about 5 or 6 years ago. I've been in academia, and so I'm currently the director of career services at a college here in Houston. But through my course of practicing medicine, and especially at my church, I found myself counseling a lot and really felt led by God to work on a certification in Christian counseling just to be better prepared. I would love to serve in that ministry in a more a deeper component and area of my living.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah. I love all the story. I love everybody talking about like what you've done and what you want to do. And that's good. That's cool. I think we have a couple, like two or three more.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can.
Okay, and I'm just like Linda. My camera's off. I'm sick, but we're here. So my name is Flor Santiago. I'm originally from Puerto Rico, and I moved to Texas 8 years ago with my husband and my kids. And it's been 6 years since I started working with a nonprofit that the mission is prevent child abuse. I'm the lead parent educator right now, and but I'm also the pastor's wife. We have a church here in Rolette where we live. It's a Hispanic church, multicultural. And when I saw that I have this opportunity to join this elective, I said, yes, we need that. We need that. I need to learn more about how to continue to serve God in our church and the families around. And I'm really excited to be here with you all.
Good. We're glad to have you. That's awesome. All
Thank
right. We
you.
got two left.
Well, I guess I'll jump in with the Puerto Rican train because I'm from Puerto Rico as well.
All right.
I'm currently living in Boise City, Texas. I moved here about, I want to say 4 years almost now. I was going to do my master's years ago, but I joined the military almost 11 years ago. That took up a lot of my time for a while. I'm still in, but as a reserve now, so I'm coming back to finish it. This is my first class in Amberton, and I work as a service coordinator for kids with mental disabilities in the Dallas area. I think that was about it, right?
Yeah, that's it. You did it.
Right.
And you said this is your first class in Emerton?
Yes, sir. First class in Amberton. That's correct.
All right. Hope it's not the last. Make sure it's not.
I'm sure it won't. I'm sure it won't.
I think it's Marlena last.
Yes, from Texas. This is the third or fourth class. I choose counseling because I enjoy helping people. I'm having a little bit of issue with the computer, so I hope you'll be patient. I'm a retired school teacher, taught 20 years in the public, 4 years in private. What else did you want to know? I'm looking forward to family counseling because in that 20 years that I worked with kids, I thought it was fantastic. I enjoy being around and helping people and getting to know just what motivates them is very interesting because it's so diverse.
Yeah.
I guess that's me in a nutshell.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And Marlena, did you say where you live?
Texas, Greenville, Texas.
Greenville? Okay, cool. All right. Well, you guys can call me Chris. So I've been in Amerton for a little over 10 years. So interesting story. My first job out of college, I was a youth pastor for a while, and I actually got a master's in what used to be called Christian education. Now it's called something else, but I got my master's, and then we left the last place we were at. We went back to school and got my master's in marriage and family therapy. So Rachel automatically gets an A just because she wants to be an LMFT. So that's really the only way to go, really. So I got my LMFT degree at Abilene Christian, then went to Texas Tech. We were there for 3 years and got my PhD there, and started teaching. Well, I've been working with families, teens, families, marriages for almost 30 years now. Is that right? Yeah, that's about right. Yeah, almost 30 years. It's like either in church or clinically, or I have had my own practice for let's see, almost 16 years now. And so I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. I've worked with, in terms of clinically speaking, I've worked in every situation. There's very little I haven't heard in terms of what people experience and things like that. But most of my practice now, most of the job that I do is working mainly with anxiety. I work mainly with adults now. Probably like 98% of my clients are adults. I do a little bit of couples work now. I don't do a ton of it. I did that for a long time. I worked with adolescents for over 20 years, and then we have two in our house, so I decided not to do that anymore. I want to not work with adolescents as much, so I haven't done that very much lately. But I work with adults, and I mainly work in employee assistance programs now, pretty much exclusively with like technology companies. So whatever tech company you can think of, I've probably worked with them. And then I've been teaching at Amerton since 2012. I actually taught at Texas Tech as well before coming here. So I have a little bit of experience in the church world and a little bit of experience in the clinical world and education in both. And I have a super high passion for people. And if you want to be in, whether you're going to work in, ministry settings, or you're going to work in a clinical setting, and you guys have already been mentioning it. If you don't like people, this is probably the wrong place for you. And when I say people, I mean all of them. Like things you like and don't like, things you agree with and don't agree with. Like this is one of the areas, one of the few places that we have to approach people where they are. And sometimes that means messy and sometimes not. It just kind of depends on the situation. And so one of the things about this class that is a little bit unique is that it's not really like for your LPC or LMFT or school counseling, let's say. Like you don't have to take this class for that. Like if you want to get to Christian counseling certification, this class is offered through there. So this makes this class a little bit unique because we have a little bit of both worlds inside of it, which I think is good. And so we can talk a little bit more about both worlds. And so I'll do my best to think about, how to help you guys in a clinical or church setting. So I'll do my best to try to think about it in both ways. And I'll do my best to also make things as practical as possible. The assignments themselves are meant to be pretty practical in nature. And so that's really important to me. The other thing that's interesting, what I think is cool about this class is, and I've done this every semester I've taught it, we can choose like I'm going to ask you guys here in a little bit to talk to me about your expectations, but we can choose certain directions to go that you feel like you want to know more about, let's say, or you want to discover more about. We can go in those directions. And so I'm going to give you guys an opportunity to tell me, what's important to you. But that's important to me when we teach this class. And so we have a little bit of freedom that way, to talk about several different areas, which I think is really neat. That'll be kind of a cool thing too. Let's talk a little bit about the assignments. All the assignments with the due dates and descriptions are on Moodle. You can see them all. There's 4 assignments. They're all worth 100 points. They sort of kind of build on each other. With the last assignment being pretty big assignment. The goal of this class is really to think, okay, if I were to create a family ministry in my church, or if I was thinking about this, like that's kind of what this class is for, and these assignments are geared towards. Like, if I was going to create this, what would it look like, and how would I do that? And is there and I'm going to ask you to think about preventative programs that I could do with, families or individuals or marriages, or are there therapeutic programs we could include inside our church? We're going to actually, our second Zoom class, we're actually going to take one of the assignments and kind of walk through it together, kind of in a practical way as well, kind of in a group setting, and then we're going to do it together. So that's going to be, and I've done that the last couple of semesters. That seems to be really helpful for everyone. The first assignment's pretty straightforward in terms of it's basically a reflection paper. And the woman at the well in John 4 so to me, is a super unique story in a lot of different ways. One of the biggest ways is that, like culturally speaking, Jesus went to a place that he knew this woman would be at. By this woman, I meant this type of woman would be at. He knew that no one else respectable for the time would be at the well at the time of day that he was going to be there. His disciples were trying to get him to go around, and he said, no, we're going over here. So I think that's kind of interesting. The second thing that's interesting is he addresses her directly, and he addresses her in a way that's pretty empathetic as well. And she actually becomes one of the first evangelistic voices in the Gospels, which is kind of interesting. So it's one of my favorite stories, but also I think it's just a good example of what it looks like meeting people where they're at and talking with people where they're at, no matter where they've been or what they've been through, or now this isn't true of the Son of God, like with us, but when you sit across from people, you don't know what the stories are. Like you guys right now, I don't know all your story. What you guys talk for 30 seconds. So I don't know you, right? I don't know your story. You don't know my story. But as we meet together and work together, we start to know people's stories. And that was something to Jesus that was very important. People's stories, like people's lives. And everyone's life has a story. And everyone's life has a narrative. And so as you read that, just kind of reflecting on it, and you can read the actual assignment and see what it entails. I do want you to be mindful of it and really reflect on it. I know that some people put off assignments till maybe the day before. I would not do that with this assignment. My suggestion would be read this. What I would tell people is, hey, read this account and then don't write anything. Just read it. This isn't, for those of you that have been in church for a while, this isn't new. This isn't going to be a new story. This has been probably preached on, I don't know how many times, and talked about, but just read it first and then read it again. And the third time when you read it to see think about the sights and the sounds and the smells and what's going on, like all the things that are going on. And that's when I would say, hey, start to reflect on it. And every reflection can be different. The great thing about this assignment is there's no way to fail it. You cannot fail this assignment because it's a reflection. It's what's coming from you. So does that make sense, hopefully, to everybody? Okay.
Yes.
Awesome. The second assignment's more like is literally create a class, like the biblical basis for family life ministry, like create a class. So it's a 45-minute class. Literally, all you're going to turn into me is an outline, whatever you decide how you're going to do it, in the outline form. In other words, and I had someone do this last time. Don't turn in like if you do slides or if you do a whole manuscript of things. Some people like to write out everything they're going to say, and that's fine. Some people work off outlines, and that's fine too. I just want the outline version, but specifically like, hey, here's what I'm going to say. Here's why I'm going to say it, and here's how I'm saying it. That's going to be very important. And again, this is your perspective, right? So some of you have some fairly unique personal perspectives about this, probably. You know, if you've worked with any families or been around families long enough to know in a church setting, you're going to have a perspective of this class, and that's great. But I just want the outline part of it, and not necessarily bullet points, but you know, a pretty healthy outline of what what you would teach. And again, it's a 45-minute class. Hopefully that doesn't sound too long. We've already been over 30 minutes now, so 45 minutes goes by pretty quick, with folks. And some people like to, you know, if you want to include like, you know, group discussion times, or you know, you can do the class however you want. I think that's you can do it, and like I said, any way you want. The third assignment is actually something that we're going to talk more about in our next Zoom class. And I'm going to actually pick some of these actual questions, topics to talk about during the class. And I'm gonna walk through some of these with you guys, and then the rest of it basically just kind of like it says, it's just a short answer assignment that you're just going to do short answers for and turn in to me. The fourth assignment, I'm going to talk about again in the next class specifically too, but I'm going to give you kind of the highlights right now. There's I've put in Moodle a congregational report. It's got some demographic information, some questions that were asked. It's made up. It's not real, but it's a made up, like if you did a report and did a bunch of assessments with a congregation. I think there's 200 responses. I think that's right. And basically you're going to follow the steps here to write the report. And I give you kind of step-by-step ways to write the report and how many pages per section to write. But also, this is really your chance to kind of sell this idea of a family life ministry. Like this would be your opportunity. Like this is like the culmination of our semester. Like, hey, I'm going to sell this to either a board of elders or deacons or whoever, you know, the leadership in your individual congregations. So it's kind of a needs assessment, which you'll get all the information, and then you'll be able to say, hey, I'm making this up. We have a gap where we need more premarital type things, and so that might be part of it. Or hey, we need some marriage enrichment time, and that might be part of it. Or so whatever it is that you see that comes out of the report. The interesting thing about this assignment, everyone gets the same information, but a lot of times people see different things, and a lot of times that's because you're also thinking about your own experience or where you attend, and so that's fine. I don't expect for everyone to write the same things. The information is the same. Everybody gets the same information, but how you synthesize it, process it, and then how you apply it could be different, and that's fine. That's okay too. I'm going to go over this a little bit more detailed when we meet again, the next time we meet. But I just want to give you kind of a high level. The instructions should be. I think you should be good. I'm even giving you a budget, like come up with a budget. I'm giving you like $25,000 to start this ministry and to use kind of a budget for that, or so I know that's a lot of talking. I typically try not to talk a ton, but I do want to give you guys a lot of information there. Oh, and I see I haven't even put those. I'll put the actual assessment on here. I don't have it on Moodle yet. I'll put that up there tonight so you can see it. I think I just have the assignment there. I don't think the actual. I think. Well, hang on a second. Let me see if yeah, it's attached to the assignment. So when you go on Moodle and click on the actual assignment, at the very bottom of the Moodle page, we'll have 3 different little PDF documents to click on that will allow you to open that up. Okay. In terms of our Zoom classes, of course, we're meeting tonight. Our next one will be on October 24th, which is on a Thursday night, I think. Someone might want to check me on that. Make sure I'm telling you the right thing. I think that's right. October 24th. Yep. It's on a Thursday at 7. And then our last one will be on November 13th, which I believe is on a Wednesday. But you guys check me on that. Make sure. I think I'm right. November 13th at 7. I kind of ran out of days of the week to meet, so I wanted to make sure we try to get 3 of these in. And we only did 2 last time, and I feel like we could have done another one, so I wanted to try to get 3 in this time. And I think all that should be updated now on Moodle. You should be able to see that. See that there. Now, let me step back, and please don't think if you have a question that's a dumb question, don't, because there's probably 3 people thinking it. So, do you have any question about any of those things?
Hello? Can
Yeah.
y'all hear me?
We can.
Okay, wonderful. I ordered my book on yesterday, and they're telling me it's not going to be back to 5 days later because the bookstore for Amberton did not have it. So I ended up ordering it from Amazon.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's an old book too. It's like the best book, but it's old.
Yeah.
I can't even see mine right now. I got it here somewhere. Yeah, here it is. So this is what it looks like.
Yes, that's it.
Did you order it from Amazon?
I ended up ordering it from Amazon. Yes, they're the only one that has it. Mardell's didn't have it.
Okay.
There was another bookstore I called to, and they didn't have it. So I ended up with Amazon. And Amazon does have copies.
Yeah, I think right now it's not going to hurt you at the beginning here. It's little writing too, y'all. This is like a little bit. I mean, it's very thorough. One reason I like it is it's pretty thorough, but it's written like 20 years ago.
Okay.
So it's not necessarily up to date. However, the information is pretty good in it.
Okay.
And so that's good. I don't think like this first assignment, especially Natasha, it's not going to hurt you not to have it. Let me ask this question since you brought up the book. I'm glad you did. I almost did this today, but I don't have like hey, read this week and read this next week. Would that be helpful? Do you guys like things like that? Like, hey, I need you to read this chapter this week and this chapter next week. Because the classes just didn't set up like that necessarily because we don't meet every week. Would that be helpful if I gave like a suggested reading path?
Yes, I think so.
Okay. I've got one. I'll put it up there today.
Okay.
And make a note to myself here. There we go. Okay. Yeah, I'll put that up there tonight.
And that is the only book, right?
That's the only book.
Okay.
Yeah. One of the things about Amberton is we don't load up with a ton of books, but we do try to pick ones that are, most helpful. So that will be the only book you'll have.
Okay.
For sure. Okay. Any other questions about the assignments, book, anything?
Chris, I do have a quick question, and it's only because I literally walked into the house and logged on to the computer to do the Zoom that I didn't look back at Moodle.
I think I'm correct. Well, anyway, I think I saw that our first assignment is due tomorrow, and I just want to know if that is a correct date. I saw September 19th for something.
Yeah, the first assignment's due on the 28th.
Okay, so
So
there's
that's
no September 19th. Okay.
yeah. Um,
And that's the
I-
reflections that's due on the 28th.
yeah,
Okay.
the first assignment. Yeah, the 28th, which I think is that a week from Saturday?
Yes.
I think that's right.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, the 28th. And then the next one's October 12th. And then the next one's November 9th. And then the final one's November 20th. And this is all on Moodle. I went ahead and put dates on all the Moodle assignments. I think one of the things that happened with all these weird dates, I had never actually seen this before until recently. There are some weird dates that show up on Moodle right now that don't have anything to do with like when things are due. I don't know. I'm not sure why. I need to go back and see if maybe I've checked the box. There's all these little boxes I can check on my end, and maybe I need to uncheck one or something. So what I did is I just went ahead and put like the actual due date with the assignment. Everything should be due on a Saturday, except the last one is due on a Thursday. I'm sorry, Wednesday.
And is that due at midnight on each of those days or?
Anytime. Yeah, anytime. Yeah, anytime. So here's my here's my apology for everyone that's super structured. I am not super structured. I'm very laid back. Now, doesn't mean I don't have any boundaries or no structure. I'm just not. I can be flexible with certain things, but I won't be flexible with other things. Like when we're talking about working with people and clinically speaking and pastoral care, I probably won't be as flexible. I'll be pretty structured. When we talk about assignments, I can be flexible because I realize life happens too. Everyone's working, doing. You guys are busy too, so. So I can be a little bit flexible with that as well. And so I know for some people that kind of drives people crazy, and I'm just apologizing at the beginning for it. I
And
can
so,
get
Chris,
on.
I'm sorry, just to interject one more
Yeah.
time. So it looks
Yeah.
like Larissa put into the chat that it does show a September 19th deadline for the observation. That's not the one where we go to like a courthouse or a home.
Chris, what I think it is I think the syllabus that's on there is showing that's the September 19th date. But when I look through Moodle, I see where you actually put body assignments, the actual due date
Oh
of
yeah,
the 12th and things and stuff like that.
yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
that's what it may be because I got confused earlier.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, and so I apologize about that. I did the syllabus 3 months ago, and I knew I'm going to have to change some dates. And so that's why I went ahead and put them on Moodle. So if you're watching this recording, look at the Moodle for the actual due dates. Those dates on the syllabus are not correct. I appreciate you, Haywood. Thanks for saying that. Because I'm like looking at this going, where did I put that? And so that's when the actual dates are aligned with Moodle. Because I had to change the Zoom dates too. So I had to basically change all the dates on the syllabus, pretty much. Well, yeah, I'd change all of them. I had to do that for all my classes this time. So I apologize about the confusion. So Moodle will have everything correct, like all the correct dates and times and everything. So you should be able to see it there. Does that make more sense, hopefully?
Yes, thank you so much for that explanation. That helps everything for me. Thank you.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I'm sorry for the confusion with the syllabus. That's my fault. I will make more than one mistake this semester for sure. That will happen. Okay. All right. Any other questions?
I have
about
one quick
anything?
question.
Yep.
So I saw on the syllabus about using like the APA style writing format. Is there a, or I mean, is it something I can just Google as a refresher, just since it's been, 20 years since I've written a paper?
Yeah,
Uh,
so the biggest piece of the APA for this class, it won't be as important because we're not doing any research papers. And so you're not really citing other sources. Like when you do your reflection for the first assignment, that's you. You're teaching, that's you. If you choose to pull in a source, then I would want you to cite the source. Like in other words, we cite things that are not our original thought, right? So having said that, like you potentially could have to cite something, let's say when you do your class outline, or you might cite something when you do your final report. So what I would suggest, and this is what I suggest to all my classes too, whether they've taken 10 classes or one, on the library website, they're going to have APA 7 helps. There's videos, there are links you can click on to go to help you with simple citations and reference pages. The other place that is super helpful, and this will be helpful for you as you move forward in throughout Emerton classes, because as you get into, especially when you get on the LPC LMFT track, you will be writing an APA style a lot more. There's a Purdue University, the website's called Purdue OWL. They have every citation type information you can think of, and APA is obviously a big one. And when you go there, you can click on their APA link and it'll give you like all the up-to-date information on APA 7. And I use it when I work my dissertation. And I mean, I'll do this for a living. And I still was like, there's just sometimes it's just little things that you can be off on. Now, there's nothing you guys are going to do that should be super tricky in terms of citations. The biggest mistake we all make when we come back to school, especially if we went to school 20 or 30 years ago, is MLS, which is footnotes and endnotes and all those things was kind of what we used back then. APA doesn't have endnotes or footnotes or anything like that. Everything's cited inside the text, and then you refer back to the reference page at the end. So that's probably the biggest difference. The other big difference, and this is true not only of this class, but any class, we have students that definitely use AI to write papers and research papers. If you ever write a research paper for Emerton and in your references, you don't have what's called a DOI link or a web link to the research that you used, if we click on that and it doesn't go anywhere, that means you used AI and probably cheated somewhere. If you use the link and it goes to the right article, then we know that it's correct. And so that'll be something too that you guys will have to be mindful of. The only reason why I'm bringing that up is because, like right now, if you use a Google search, you get the AI answer at the very top of Google now. I mean, AI is here. We use it all the time. You know, if you've ever used Siri or Alexa, that's all AI. That's been around for a long time. So I'm not scared of it. We shouldn't be scared of it. It's here. We're already using it. We just have to be mindful of it. That's all. Not everything we get AI wise is even correct. And so we just have to be mindful of that. So does that make sense? Hopefully, I'm not trying to go down a super rabbit trail here. That's kind of important for us. Okay. Any other questions about any of those things? Okay. Awesome. And obviously, if you have questions, you can always message me through Moodle. I try to get back to people within the day or as quick as I can. Every once in a while, someone has trouble with Moodle, like I can't load something or something happens. Our IT folks at Emerton are super great. You can always contact them if something goes on or something that doesn't load or you can't download something. It doesn't happen a lot, but sometimes it happens. Man, there was something else I was going to say about that. Now I can't remember. I'll probably think of it later. I'm gonna kind of shift gears here for a second. And one of the things I talked about earlier is I I like to give all my classes an opportunity to talk to me about expectations because I have expectations through the assignments and then participation. Um, what I'd like to do now, and I'm going to put you guys into groups, probably 2 or 3 in a group, probably 3 or 4. And I just want you to talk about a couple of things. Number one, talk about what your expectations for this class are. And number two, is there something that I'd really like to, when I get done with this class, I kind of wish I would know this or know more about this, whatever that is. So those 2 things. And I'm going to give you guys like 8 or 9 minutes to talk about that. And then we'll come back on. And then I'm going to kind of take notes too as we go. And then I'll just ask you guys to share what you talked about. And so I'm going to put you in breakout rooms. And so you'll get a little link there. And so all you'll have to do is click it and then you'll join that room. And then at the end, you'll get like a little, hey, 1 minute left thing. Let me get this right.
Can you repeat what you want us to talk about again? I'm sorry.
Yeah, expectations for the class and something you would really like to know.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. There you go. All right. Hopefully I didn't cut anyone off too bad. Sometimes it just ends the conversation. All right. Talk to me a little bit about what you guys are looking for and what you're expecting. I'm going to take a couple of notes as we go here. I'd love to hear what you had to say.
I don't mind speaking first on behalf of those that were in my group. So, our expectations that kind of came out of our group discussion was would love to learn how to help individuals feel comfortable in giving us information. We kind of quoted it as like pulling information, but being comfortable enough to give the things we can do to help them to be comfortable enough to give adequate information so that we can help the best that we can. The second thing was just being able to just kind of learn as much as we can in every aspect of family studies and counseling, learning all that we can. Another aspect was specifically in regards to a potentially suicidal client or patient, the approaches to be taken and what kind of training type of things that we could potentially look into in order to help direct and be effective in saving lives from that aspect. And then the last thing was specifically how to coordinate clinical and religious counseling into one, like that clean coordination if one exists, or at least a comfortable coordination with those two if it exists. And then what I'd love to know, one of our group members said this and we all agreed, and this was fabulous. What would an effective family ministry actually look like in our church? Like what would that ministry, if there were to be a family ministry, what would it do and what would it look like?
That's what you're supposed to tell me.
Okay, well, maybe by the end of the class, we'll be able to contribute to your suggestions.
Is that for now or are you asking for later?
Right now, we're just kind of talking about what you guys are looking for, I think. My favorite so far has been learn as much as we can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What exactly is it all about?
Good. Okay, good. What else?
Natasha, Do you want to speak for our group? You're on mute, dear.
Okay, hello?
Got it.
Okay, you hear me now?
We
Yes,
got
we
you.
can
Got
hear
it? Okay. So we definitely talked about I know it was mentioned about the book and everything. I was saying how some of the chapters were very very informational and that they were easy to read through and everything. And we all just were really basically saying that, you know, we want to learn as much as we can so that we can be helpful to the ministry and transitioning from basically, I know one of them said that transitioning from regular counseling, like with me, school counseling into ministry counseling, that's something that we're interested in, and we would like to definitely know how to use that in our daily therapy or talking to church members or whatever is what we're trying to figure out in this new experience.
Gotcha. Okay.
And some of the other people can share that was in my group too, because I may not have got it all right, but I was trying to.
You did a great job. I think you have just for the few minutes we talked, you have an excellent way of expressing things, and you just uplifting and what you expressed to them. I think you covered all the bases. Flora, do you think that's the case, or maybe you want to add
Yeah,
something?
she did amazing. That's what we need to say.
Thank you.
So what they're saying, Natasha, is you're now the spokesperson every single time.
Okay. Okay, and I'm gonna try to do better.
Anyone else?
Linda or Haywood want to speak for our group?
You can, you got it, I think.
I think you were the more well-rounded in our group.
Oh, I felt like the overall consensus of our group was that we're looking for ways to be resources within our church congregations, and just have more knowledge, like they were saying about the family life ministry, and having more knowledge in that area, whether helping out there or helping out with counseling in one form or another, whether it's uh, like fellow pastors or fellow church leaders, providing that safe space for them, but also just looking to be an effective part of our churches, our home congregations, family ministries.
Gotcha. Good.
Yeah, very good.
I'm
Anyone
fading.
else? Yeah, you did
Yeah.
great. Anybody else? Okay. So I've got everything down. No pressure here. You just guys want like everything. We want to know everything about everything, which is great. I love it. I like when students want to learn. I know that sounds weird, but that's really, really helpful. It's very important. Um, and I don't, I won't have all the answers to everything. And if I don't, if I don't know something, I'll just say, hey, I don't know. Or, let's figure that out. Some of you might know, like there's going to be things that I don't know that you do about certain things. I mean, that's fine. That's why we're here, is to learn from each other too. I can definitely, in terms of the first thing that Melanie was talking about was, it's kind of interesting. I've actually never had anyone bring this up before. Like, how do you, I think what you said is get information out of people, which I think what you mean is like there's a fancy way to say it clinically. It's therapeutic alliance. When you have a positive therapeutic alliance with someone, then they feel safe enough to talk about whatever's going on and share things, and um, that's kind of what I think you're saying, creating that space. The one thing that I will say, and I think will be important for everyone moving forward, no matter which direction you go. It's not our job to make decisions for people or tell people what to do. That's not our job. That sounds really easy right now. It's actually very difficult. I had an old mentor, this was in the 90s, say, it's not my job to make personal decisions for people. And I've taken that, I've used that in my pastoral work, in my clinical work, with friends even. We can ask questions, we can make suggestions about certain things, but that's a lot of pressure to put on us to make personal decisions for people, which sounds very simple right now as we sit in this pretty cozy little area, but it's very difficult when people are right across from you really wanting to know what to do. Or you see them doing things that maybe that's not going to work, especially clinically speaking. And so that becomes a little bit more difficult. However, if you have a really positive therapeutic alliance, it makes it a little bit easier to work with them still. And that doesn't happen all the time. That just happens some of the time. Well, one of the things about having a good therapeutic alliance is creating a safe spot for people to share what they need to share, or talk about what they need to talk about. Not just physical safety, but emotional safety and mental safety. That's very important. That's actually very important to me in this class. I know we're on a Zoom, but this class should be a safe spot for us to come and ask questions and talk and learn and grow, and that's what this should be. So that's very important, I think. And as we work with people, what I've learned about people, I think, over the years is people do whatever they want to do. And everyone sometimes needs another person to process things with and talk with and just kind of walk alongside. There's this image of what I see it as, like being an incarnational companion with people. When Christ is in us, we can be with other people. We're being Christ with other people at times, and that incarnation of Christ, so him being part of our life, we're just walking beside people in their life, and sometimes we walk beside them for a while, and sometimes we don't walk beside them for very long. But the more safe, the more we can make ourselves safe for them, the more they'll walk with us and talk with us, and then they'll figure things out. And so that we can talk about all those things. We can definitely talk about some type of integration between the spiritual, religious, and the clinical. We can talk about some of those things too. One of the things I was going to do already is talk a little bit more about some differences in like psychology, counseling, Christian counseling, and pastoral care, because there's some differences there, or biblical counseling too. There's some differences in those, and so we'll talk about some of those things too as we go. And then some of the other areas, like you guys are wanting to know more about, like what makes an effective family life ministry, or how can we be resources for our congregations. I mean, a lot of that we'll talk about, but a lot of that's going to be on you guys to kind of, as you read and think through things, and share things with each other. This can be a great place to share ideas too, and help each other. I think this could be a great place for that as well. And some of the questions that we'll go through the next time we meet, we'll address some of these things too, that we'll talk about, specifically about working in a congregation setting. We'll talk specifically about that too. Does that all make sense? Hopefully. Okay. Did I miss anything? I think I was able to capture most everything. Okay. All right. So, now we can all go do something else. It's 8:15 and maybe some of us have been up since 5 and want to go take a shower. So my family does something really, really weird. We watch Survivor. Starts tonight. I'm a weird Survivor freak. I don't know why, but we've watched it for a long time. So now we go watch that, and I think I watch it because I basically sit there and diagnose everybody, and you know. Anyway, it's one of those weird things. Anybody have like weird shows that you like? Not weird, but like shows that you watch. I mean, I've been watching Survivor for like all the seasons. I've seen all of them. That's really strange, I guess.
Yeah. No, my family and I were Survivor fans as well. So
Yeah.
that is our thing of getting together and watching Survivor.
Yeah. It's changed a lot.
It has. We
Less-
paused for a
yeah.
minute, but then we got
Yeah.
back together
Yeah.
again.
It's a lot more like group therapy now than it used to be. It used to be more about like surviving, but now it's more a little bit
Mhm.
different. But my favorite show is Amazing Race. I love that show. But I really want to I would love for my family to be able to do that. That'd be awesome. We'd be funny too. We'd be good television for sure. All right. So now you can go do something else, whatever it is. And we'll see you back here on, what did I say, the 28th, right? 24th of October. Obviously, if you have questions, let me know. Otherwise, have a good rest of the week, and we'll see you in a few weeks.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Chris.
you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.